Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Wendy Fields. I'm the president of Kalamazoo Branch NAACP. We have been partners with Isaac for years, and so to take this journey with them, this virtual walk to DC for racial justice, it's just befitting, and it was a no-brainer. With that, I've been asked to speak a little bit about myself and feelings as a black person and how injustice and inequities has impacted me, my family, that sort of thing. So what I'll share with you is simply this. I can remember at age 10 going to Shorter, Alabama. I was born and raised in Kalamazoo. I went to Shorter, Alabama to a funeral. And I remember this incident where we went to the little country store, and I was going to purchase bologna and Plank Road Farm crackers, and got to the counter to pay for my things, and extended my hand with my money in it to the store owner, and she wouldn't take it out of my hand, and so didn't know what that meant, and so the young girl that lived there told me that I had to put the money on the countertop, or she wouldn't, because she wasn't going to take it out of my hand. And so didn't know what that meant, but I knew it didn't feel right in my gut. So I refused to do it, and I told them I did not want to purchase the item. So we left and went back to their home. And I can remember when we got there, she told her mom what had happened, and again, didn't think anything of it. We went outdoors to play. But in the middle of the night, maybe 2, 3 in the morning, we were awakened and told we had to leave because we were uppity Negroes from up north. And so we did. Got in the car, packed up, and we left. Still did not understand what that was or what that meant until years later. So fast forward to 2020. Um, I went to a restaurant here, walk in, take out, drive through. But I went inside, and this happened just a couple weeks ago. Went inside, ordered my food, gave them the cashier my money, and she gave me back my change, but she put it on the counter. And I said to her, I didn't give you my money that way, and I want it back in my hand. And she honestly said, I'm not touching your hand. And so I left it there, and I asked for a manager. She told me, I am the manager. I'm all you're getting. And I said, well, then you call a manager at home because I'm not picking my money up. I want it in my hand. So a young male who's also at the cash register picked up my money and gave it to me and apologized. Um, so I went home, and my first thought was to blast it on Facebook and, yada, yada, yada. And then something told me, no, go back tomorrow, because had that young man not countered her actions, I probably would have, because I said to myself, this is not a reflection of the store, this is just an individual. So I went back the next day and met with the manager, and who told me that that young person was not a manager, and she was so upset about what had happened, and wanted to make amenities and all of that, but we were good with that. But I say all of that to say, here we are 50 years later, 50 something years later, 2020, and these things are still happening. So you ask me, why am I walking for justice? Because injustice is still here, and it's still prevalent, and we see it in our healthcare systems, we see it in our judicial system, we see it in our housing, we see it in employment. It is here, it is relevant, and so is this walk. And so you might be sitting there thinking, oh boy, what can I do? What you can do is vote. You have to vote. You have to vote. It's not a maybe. It's not a I'm thinking about it. You must vote. And if you think about it, and they're telling you your vote does not matter, it does not count, just think. If your vote was not relevant, why is it that people are trying so hard to prevent you from voting? Your vote counts. Every vote counts. Please do not be dissuaded. Please vote. Even if you have a felony, you can vote. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. Here in Michigan, anyone with a felony can vote. The last thing that I'll leave you with is this. You probably are thinking, when is it going to get better? How can it get better? It is going to get better. It will get better. It has to get better. And the reason I know that is because even in the Bible, it tells us that things are only here for a season. And if you think that God does not see the injustice of this world, think again. I know it may be hard to see. I know it might be hard to believe, but I believe, and it's what keeps me going. So I'll leave you with one of my favorite scriptures, and I hope that it is inspiring to you because it is to me. Have to get my glasses so I can see. It's Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. Everything has its time. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Be blessed.